That's another story.
Sometimes.
Yeah, openwordnews.com, folks, going through the news of the day. What else you got there, Pamphleteer? You said you had a little something on Kent Hovind.
Yeah, actually,
I
wanted to.
on Monday.
And actually, we didn't really finish, we didn't have time to finish the interview that Alex Jones had aired on Dr. Kent Hovind. And I wanted to go back to it for the remainder of the hour. And I want to go down step by step, and actually you had a chance to really read into it and know some of the charges. I mean, legally, what was actually happening to Dr. Hovind. And I want to pick up where we left off on Monday, and I want to go through it slowly. And I want to talk to the people out there and those that are listening that maybe have heard of the case, or if you haven't heard of this case, this is crucial. This is crucial to what we are as a society and what we are as human beings, really. I mean, as Christians, too, as well. I mean, it's not just a matter of just anybody. This is a specific person that they have targeted, and I say the target because that's exactly what has happened to him. Big man, if you want, I'll go ahead and start the clip here. If you got a few minutes, we're going to go through just a few of the first points here.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
To make it even worse, a year ago, I filed a perfectly legitimate lawsuit against the Bureau of Prisons for keeping my legal box and hindering me from filing my motions. And I filed a perfectly lawful lis pendens, a litigation pending, which says, hey, because they wanted to sell the church property. They did. They already did.
And now they're coming after you for pro se activity.
So what was happening here, big man, is that they already had incarcerated him. They were coming after his property. And I think what happened is they ended up selling the property, right? And he was trying to stop them from selling the property. So just to give you some history on Kent Hovind, Kent Hovind owned the Creation Science Evangelism Museum Ministries out of Pensacola, Florida. He was targeted by the IRS for a charge called structuring, if I'm not mistaken. And what that is pretty much like taking money out of your own bank account and paying bills with it that is not on record. Is that what they were doing, big man?
You know, one of the things that's interesting about this, and I've had this conversation before, I am not a big fan of what is known as the RICO Act. I really believe that this is, we can break the law, you don't have to worry about us, you don't have to question us, we know what's best for you. And folks really thought this back in the day. We've been conditioned to really become comfortable with the fact that we are not our own persons. We don't actually own the things that we own, and we really don't have any rights. We've become such a, and I'm not talking negative, it's beautiful actually too, because ignorance is bliss, folks. The easier you can walk around in this world and just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to the restroom, maybe eat at the same time, maybe not, maybe when I get out, watch a football game and go to sleep. It's good, and I've lived that way too and said, you know what, I don't want to turn on the news or hear anything about the world. The thing is, though, you look at where Kent Hovind is at, and this is real. This is a gentleman who was not pushing crack or we'll talk a little bit more about the real, and I do mean the real Rick Ross later on. But, you know, Throwback Thursday, looking at this and going back almost 10 years, which is the time that he's been in prison, this man is basically in prison for using his own money that he got legitimately, which he proved that he actually acquired legitimately, and he used it to pay legitimate operations
to
and means.
Buy prostitutes and
no. We're not talking about the debacle with the Secret Service agents.
Yeah.
In South America.
No,
that's different.
He was teaching kids.
He
about
was talking to children, not touching children. No, not touching children. He was talking about how children came from God because He loved us and gave us an Adam and an Eve, and then we.
But then he was talking about evil stuff like creation. Yeah, that's evil. We don't want to.
You're being sarcastic. I'm being facetious.
I am being a little bit of everything right now.
Same here.
I'm beyond myself. You know, because Kent Hovind is such a near and dear to my heart. I remember seeing him as a young man this was 1999. I want to say 2000, and you know it's something that I have to talk about because I really honestly give him a lot of credit for helping me in my walk with God and with Christ, because he broke down. Are you
literally walking with God and Christ? People want to know those things.
He broke down some barriers.
I asked you if you're literally walking.
Literally, I literally am walking somewhere at some time. But the breakdown of this barrier of evolution and how real it is to the students in America. I mean, kids are being taught a lot of funky things in class, and I guarantee you one of the things that is not funky that should be taught is creation. Because creation then puts you under authority. It doesn't make you the authority.
Well, for our listeners out there who may not believe in the creation theory, one of the things I have to say to you,
it's not a theory, actually.
Is, to some folks, they have the ability to call it a theory.
Sure.
You have to be able to respect that. You don't have to agree with it. You have to respect it.
I respect so much.
Well, one of the things that I've learned to respect is understanding is that there either is or there isn't a God. And I think Kent Hovind puts it best when he actually talks about how, well, look at how much faith you have. If you believe that there's not a God, then technically there's just a bunch of random chemicals that made a massive muscle that really I have no control over.
Yeah.
So I could go insane, and you live in that world and you accept that world and you put your faith in the world that we came from, the residue of moisture that created on rocks that one day created life.
Yeah, that's faith.
So that's faith. You have a lot of faith. My faith's a little simpler. I believe in a existential being that is superior, which created all things, has always existed, and will always exist. So we both are taking a leap of faith. Mine just has a little bit, from my opinion, structure, well thought out, and has a purpose. But no, I mean, if you want to come from the residue of rocks, let's go back to that clip, Pamphleteer, and we'll talk about.
Tell folks about that.
Yeah, they wanted to. I just finished trial last Friday. They came after me again, a 2-week trial, saying, you face another 100 years in prison for filing this Liz pendants and for contempt of court, which is insane. The jury was a hung jury on every count except for one. They did find me guilty of contempt of court of a 2007 order, and my attorney is putting in a motion saying, look, there was no law.
Now, they got him for contempt of court for something he should have never been in prison for in the first place. That goes back to my theory of entrapment through RICO, using what they call structuring, which is basically, look, you didn't actually do anything, but you look like you were trying to do something.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to take your property.
Yeah. No,
that's so crazy.
Who is his? I mean, anyway, but yeah, I mean, but going back to that, I mean, if you are in that realm where he is in a spiritual battle, and he talks about that quite a bit. Think about what he was going after. I mean, he's going after the very head, the jugular of the snake. The blood life of the snake is taxes, my friend. I mean, the state could not run. Well, I shouldn't even say the state could not run without taxes. The state could just print its own money and just run off that. I mean, that's what it's doing anyway. So why do they need the taxes, especially from a ministry that is not subject to the state? I mean, Thomas Jefferson, separation of church and state. I mean, that's really what Thomas Jefferson was talking about, is you get the state out of church business. It doesn't belong there. It doesn't say separation of God and state. It says separation of church and state. There is no, it just doesn't get any clearer than that. But people like, unbelievers want to put the state up on a pedestal and, of course, come after people like this. But there's two, like you said, there's two beliefs. There's two beliefs. There's humanism and there's God.
Throwback Thursday, folks, hitting the news of the day, folks. I want to take you through the news, and I know you want to finish that clip there. Go ahead. Let him finish that bad boy right there. We're going to go back to this Kent Hovind in prison, openwordnews.com. This interview from Alex Jones, InfoWars, earlier this week.
On that one.
Will you ever get out of prison? It's incredible. How long have you been in prison? How long will they keep you? They just keep trying to pile it up. What happened in the new court case?
Well, the new court case, it was a hung jury on everything except one count when I was found guilty of, and that one carries anywhere from nothing to, there's no limit, 100 years, I suppose, contempt of court, which what on earth is that? So we're working now to get that jury verdict overturned. Who knows? I was supposed to go home last month from this last charge, but I've been sitting in a county jail with 11 guys sleeping on the floor, and for 10 months now. I've been in county jail.
I had Michael Allison on a few years ago. He was facing life in prison for filming the police and taping the police on his own property, and the state actually tried to get him life in prison for that. I mean, this is totalitarianism, is it not?
It is indeed, and Edmund Burke said all that's needed for evil men to triumph is for good men to do nothing, and this is America, for heaven's sake. We've got freedom. We need to take advantage of the freedoms and use it. Right now, Congress can change all this. Congress created this club that they're clubbing everybody with. Take it away. Congress should pass a law that says no one involved in law enforcement at any level, judges, lawyers, etc., should be allowed to own stock in the prison system.
That's right.
Profit is double dipping. the longer they lock you away, the more money they make.
So, big man, this is something that's coming to light as well about prisons. I mean, recently there was a prison. What is the name of that prison over there in Wesley County that was...
one of the interesting things about that is that they ended up firing everybody. But a lot of that actually revolved around some of the things we're dealing with the health district where, if you don't have the means... And think about this. There's so many private prisons here in the state of Texas.
Private prisons, right.
And, you get to the point where you realize people are profiting from a system that's ungodly. It's and people have a hard time swallowing this because I've explained this before when folks get a DWI. Look at poor Nora Longoria. If she had not, she was I think not even a mile from her house. What are they doing harassing her? And I'm being serious. I'm not even being facetious. Some people might think I am.
Yeah.
But she didn't crash into anything.
She didn't kill anybody.
She
just got rip-roaring drunk.
And then you have those people who say, oh, my God, are you going to wait for somebody to die? That's a crime. So, yes, because that means that it was, whether you believe in God's will or not, that means apparently it happened. Somebody got killed or an accident happened, property was damaged.
And at that point,
justification of criminal procedures.
Sure, absolutely.
To move on. And then that doesn't mean the state gets to make cash off the deal, because that's ridiculous, makes no sense, and is counterproductive to what society is trying to achieve, unless society is trying to rob people blind, which apparently I guess it is. But no. When you look at this, you take into consideration the fact that nothing happened. That's pre-crime. So that's like me. We're going back again, and this is where it's going to go with the healthcare issue. I want to eat a pizza, and I'm going to want to order that pizza. And because I'm going to die because I like extra cheese, pepperoni, and bacon wrapped around the edge of my pizza, they're going to say, well, you know what, Mr. Rodriguez, we can get you that pizza, but it's a crime against yourself to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to have to charge you more.
Yeah.
Because you're not capable of taking care of yourself. And then my rebuttal is going to be like, if Michelle Obama, who is an attorney who graduated from Harvard, doesn't know what to feed her children, how can you expect me to know how to eat?
I mean, I wonder what Michelle Obama eats anyway.
OpenWordNews.com, folks. Go back to that clip pamphlet here. You got a few minutes left on that.
I wrote a book about this under a different name called The Kennel. It's up on Lulu.com and on 2Peter3.com. It exposes the evil. All I do, like Jeremiah the prophet, is just simply expose the truth. Here's what's happening, and boy, they hate the light. Evil men hate the light.
Well, you're a very righteous man. I mean, people can pick up on that. You're just a straightforward Jimmy Stewart, type guy. That's how you come off. They cannot stand you because you are a leader, Ken, and you're a hero. It hurts my heart though to think about how they've tortured you and dieseled you. Tell folks what they've done to you.
Well, like I said, I've been moved 23 times. I was moved to Colorado. I live in Pensacola, Florida. You're supposed to stay within 500 miles of your home. Well, I was moved out to Colorado against my will, and then moved up to New Hampshire against my will. I was moved out to Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery. I was only there 4 days, and they took me out and never told me why. Put me in county jail. It's been diesel therapy. But God's been good. I've written 37 books. I've led over 700 men to Christ. Half the Bible is written from prison or by people who've been in captivity or prison. So God uses it. It's coming to everybody. If you stand true for the Lord, it's coming. So just get ready for it. That's
beautiful because it's a true testament to what Christianity really is. This man is standing in the gap and preaching the truth, and the darkness hates the light, big man. And you have a problem here because the darkness wants to rule over the light, but the light is too bright. They had to. The amazing thing is that they've had to move him so many times, as though he's such a high risk prisoner, as though this man is going to run away, or maybe they were doing that to weaken him and to make him think that he could escape or give him some kind of out. But hey, he sounds great.
I'm not even going to speculate on things of that nature. My thing with that entire project is that the statistics show that the more times you're moved in prison, the more chance you have for incidents to occur that are not necessarily the best thing for your health. And this is something that's concerning. Is there any more time left on that clip pamphlet here? Let's go back to that clip.
There's a few more minutes, but we got to run to break here. So as soon as we get back from break, we will break down the rest of this clip, and we'll dive into a little bit more of what is happening to Kent Hovind right now. And you're listening to OpenWordNews.com on 93.9 FM. Folks, check us out. We got a Facebook, we got a Twitter, we got a Tumblr. Well, we don't have a... Oh, yeah, we do have a Tumblr. And we have an Instagram now, so if you want to like us on there and follow us and check out our photos and all that good stuff. But anyway, big man, we got to run. We'll be right back, folks. You're listening to OpenWordNews.com.
Do you have a wedding, family reunion, quinceañera, a gala, or a prom? For special events, Antigua Revilla, 956-648-7332, 956-648-7332, Antigua Revilla, for your special events needs. OpenWordNews.com/event for your free registration to win a luxury event. Visit OpenWordNews.com/event to win a luxury event. Get your free registration today for your special events needs. Antigua Revilla, 956-648-7332, 956-648-7332. For family reunions, quinceañeras, galas, or proms, special events, Antigua Revilla, 956-648-7332. For your free registration, OpenWordNews.com/event. OpenWordNews.com/event.
Bowen Information Technology, leading the way in information technology. We assist our clients in achieving all of their business needs by providing them with a single stop for all of their solutions. Partner with Bowen Information Technology for better service at a lower cost. Bowen Information Technology is a Microsoft partner, Adobe certified reseller, and AVG Cloud Care specialist. Call 956-472-8601 or go to bowenit.net for more information.
Distribution Alexander is now offering $10.99 delivery contract errand service in McAllen and Edinburgh. We can deliver for pharmacies, restaurants, auto parts stores. We can do mail runs, personal and business. And we can also be your package receiving service. Call Jimmy for more information at 956-438-0447. Distribution Alexander, 29 years and counting.
There is no substitute for the healthy glow that comes from taking care of your skin naturally. By using products that are handcrafted with all-natural USDA certified organic ingredients can help you look and feel your best. Check out PureGanicShop.com, a local company that specializes in organic body care products. That's PureGanics, PureGanix shop.com. Use promo code OWN14 to get 25% off your order and always free shipping. Shop local, support local, PureGanicShop.com.
Hillary Clinton, President Obama, and the other liberals call themselves progressives. Their goal is to progressively dismantle the Constitution and create bigger and bigger government, less and less freedom, while dragging the Republicans down the same road. Jesus Christ is also making progress ever since he ascended in the clouds to the Ancient of Days to receive his eternal kingdom. He is progressively bringing more and more liberty by ruling until he puts down all rulers that disobey his rules, just like he destroyed Rome. The path of the just one is as the shining light that shines more and more to the perfect day. And just as you can't tell the sun is moving, so it is with the history of the shining light. The knowledge of the glory of the Lord will cover the earth as the waters cover the sea. Church of the King, McAllen.com. Side with God against yourself and get on the winning side of history.
Don't pay your traffic ticket. Fight for your rights. Call the attorneys at 956-391-2754. They'll fight for you and defend your rights. 956-391-2754. RGVDWI.com.
Welcome back, folks. OpenWordNews.com. We are here on Throwback Thursday. Our brother in the fight for Christianity is still in prison, Kent Hovind, going on almost 10 years. We're talking about him on Monday, coming back here, finishing up a clip on an interview from InfoWars. RGV guy and the pamphleteer. Let's go to that clip, pamphleteer, and let's get that breakdown going.
Man, this is gut wrenching to hear this, but
it's been a blessing in 1,000 ways. It's been hard. I have an 8-year-old grandson that I've never held in freedom, never. He was born 2 months after I came to prison. I should have gone home last month. I could go home today if they overturned this one count. But
this call is from the Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, I love the Lord. I love my country. I'm trying to help. And I think all the stuff we have posted on 2 Peter 3 would help. The thing they fear the most is light. And all Gideon had in the book of Judges was 2 weapons, light and noise. Shine the light, make a lot of noise. And the enemy started fighting each other. That's what I'm praying here. The IRS agents in my case need to be completely investigated, start to finish. The judges need to be completely investigated. If they did nothing wrong, okay. But Congress impeaches judges if they don't rule according to good behavior. They rarely do that. But the Constitution says they're appointed for life during good behavior. Okay, well, check the case out.
Well, Kent, I get tears in my eyes, not so much for you, but for all the other innocents they're persecuting, for the unborn, for the fact of how they don't have death lists for our veterans of do not treat and nobody gets in trouble. The evil is intensifying. Is our country beginning to come under judgment?
I fear it is, brother. If any country ever deserved the judgment of God, it's America. We had a wonderful founding, amazing blessings from God, and we have spit in his face, and we've done so many things against his law that I fear. Well, the Bible says, for the transgression of the land, many are the princes thereof. Because we're wicked, we've got this huge bureaucracy.
Bingo. Because of the wickedness of people, we've given over our power, our sovereignty, to administrators and people that are going to determine whether you need a health district or not.
No. Put the Kardashians back on. Go put the Kardashians back on, brother. Go to that clip.
Oh, yes, the Kardashians. I almost forgot. Yeah.
So God's giving us what we deserve, and it's sad. So I appreciate what you guys do to try to turn it around. I'm in the same boat. I think righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. All I've ever tried to do for 46 years is win souls and tell people live for God.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
You have 60 seconds, Kent, there from your political prison. You've got 60 seconds. Final words.
Okay, what people can do is deluge Congress. Now, this judge has said, please write to me and let me know what you think about Kent Hovind should this, on this one count he was found guilty of. I don't know that it'll make any difference, but Judge Casey Rogers, number 1, North Palafox, Palafox in Pensacola, 32501. And just say, Judge Rogers, please let Kent go home. It's been 100 months. Just go home. We still think we're going to win the case. We can always go on appeal, but Congress needs to stop some of these stupid laws. They need to simply abolish the IRS. What do we need them for? Just shut them down. We didn't have them until 1933. Just stop. Okay? But if not, at least investigate them. Look what they did in my case. Classic example of everything going wrong with our justice system.
And there you go. He's now back sleeping on the floor in a giant mass of stinking inmates. And I don't say they're stinking people. You just know it stinks in there. And,
it doesn't necessarily smell. And unless he's been there, I don't think you should make that judgment. But you got to keep in mind, American prisons are not as bad as prisons across the world. You could be in China.
Yeah, that's true.
You could be in Mexico, right next door. You could be in France. Well, French prisons are not that bad.
Never been in a French prison.
I was watching a special on prisons abroad or locked up abroad, and they get like baguettes. They get these great baguettes and cheese and fruit.
What?
Baguettes.
Baguettes.
Oh.
That sounds good.
Openwordnews.com. Kent Hovind, hashtag Free Kent. Folks, this is real. This gentleman went to prison almost a decade now, or more than a decade now, because he spent his own money. This could be you, folks. We were talking about on previous shows, Pamphleteer, about what happens with different aspects of our history. And let's go back in time. What happened back in time on this day? Well, the city of Boston in 1822 was incorporated. Now, I want you to think about what incorporations do and what being incorporated does for a city. That has actually led to the demise of where we are today. because incorporation status and business status as opposed to state status has changed, and it is giving the dictation and the authoritative power to municipalities that are actually private corporations run by individuals for profit. So we live under this rule that people at some point thought was a great idea, much like 1945's this time today across the world. Adolf Hitler issued his Nero decree, which ordered the destruction of German facilities that could fall into Allied hands as German forces were retreating. I want you to think about the insanity and the real life situation that people must have endured, understanding that they were setting fire for the sake of others potentially acquiring what was theirs. Folks, that's where we're at today. Today, we're fining people for crimes they haven't committed that they might have committed with their own money, with your money. You're capturing your own brothers. You're ruining their livelihood.
Yeah.
You know, and what do you think about that pamphlet here, the Nero decree there at this point in time across the world?
I mean, I think you're right. I think there's only man can enslave man. And I think that's what happens when you have an out of control government. And that is the whole point of this struggle, this battle, is that are you going to worship a man-made organization because of its grandeur or because of the services it provides or because it does such a good thing for the society? Or are you going to trust that God will be that organization and be that person to provide for you? But the big man, the biggest thing is, and I think we're all guilty of it, is that we cannot provide for ourselves, so we go out and work instead of actually doing what God had wanted us to do, was work the ground. We go out and work to make money to go buy the food as opposed to growing the food ourselves.
You know, interesting you talk about growing and not being able to handle things for ourselves. At some point in time on this day back in history in 1918, the United States Congress approved daylight savings time, pretty much meaning that we couldn't handle the difference in a day and understanding the variations of time in an hour. And the rest of the world doesn't do that, if y'all didn't know that.
It's the American way. We got to add more sunlight, more daylight to the day.
Who keeps the metric system down? We do. We do. OpenWordNews.com.
I forgot about that. What is that? The Stonecutters?
The Stonecutters from
the Simpsons.
Yeah. OpenWordNews.com.
We'll put that in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll put that in the show notes. Folks, on this day in history across the globe, 1963 in Costa Rica, U.S. President John F. Kennedy and 6 Latin American presidents pledged to fight communism. You know, do the research, find out what 6 countries, and question if they're under communist rule today. That's a big deal, though. You know, JFK, you know, what can I say? Dared to push the antithesis of what was the reality of the world. One of his last speeches was so epic. I mean, he was at a point where he was going to go to a greenback system, destroying our Federal Reserve currency, our Federal Reserve currency system with fiat currency. Also declaring the investigation of quote-unquote non-federal agencies like the FBI and the CIA. A lot of folks don't know that, but the private corporations started up and funded by us. So it's kind of goes back to, are you happy with the prison system? Do you like incarcerating people who have not committed violent crimes? Are you happy with a state that takes funding for actions against no one to punish you? And you should question those things, folks. OpenWordNews.com, Throwback Thursday. This across the news desk around the world today. At some point in time, I want you to know, and this is personally one of my favorite. The world's largest omelet was made today. Over 160,000 eggs.
Yummy.
In Yokohama, Japan, back in 1994. 160,000 eggs.
That's ridiculous.
No, that's an omelet, baby.
That's an OMG omelet.
That's an OMG. But, folks,
yeah.
This day across the world, probably one of the most, and I want to get your feedback on this. In 2003, U.S. President George W. Bush announced that the U.S. forces had launched a strike against targets of military opportunity in Iraq. The attack using cruise missiles and precision-guided bombs were aimed at Iraq's leaders, thought to be near Baghdad. bombs over Baghdad. What do you think about that, pamphleteer? This day in history, did you realize that much stuff had happened? There's a lot more.
I didn't know. I didn't really keep up with that.
What do you think about the bombing of Baghdad?
It was shock. It was awe. It was shock and awe, if I remember correctly.
Actually, that's a different operation and a different George.
Oh, so it happened
on a different day. Yeah, that's a whole.
That was in March though.
But a different day.
The original one was. When did we declare war in the Gulf War?
If you got to ask, brother, I'm gonna tell you. That's like when somebody asks me, "Hey, do I look drunk?" I'm gonna be like, "Let me tell you. If you don't know already, you probably are."
You know what? I keep reading. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I keep reading into this this Kent Hovind thing. I cannot let it out of my mind. It's so sad. But actually, if you go to freekenthovind.com, you can go and find out. This is interesting right here. 20 facts proving immoral deviance imprisoned Kent Hovind, and it starts. It's pretty good. I think we should cover this tomorrow. It's pretty good.
Well, we actually talking about immoral deviance. We're going to be having a conversation with Mr. Richard Montes de Oca, maybe Mr. George Rice. And they're going to be talking about the upcoming re-proposed medical district that was already shot down by folks here in the Rio Grande Valley. Don't forget, folks, tonight here in McAllen, you're going to be having the opportunity to go to a town hall meeting talking about our upcoming elections and some of the stuff going on within the school district itself. Today in history across the world, folks, 1748, the English Naturalization Act passed, which basically granted Jews the right to colonize in the U.S. I want you to think about the founding of our country, where we came from, what we were about. And a lot of folks, today I posted a constitutional moment on our website, or actually on my personal Facebook. Folks, take the time to learn history. Some of the things that happened, even in one day, are phenomenal across the scope of history. You can kind of see the landscape and how things change over the course of time. Pamphleteer, I know you were going through some of the other news stories. You had mentioned the gentleman who had died at the island, been decapitated.
Yes.
Some folks really believe that that's cartel related. Some folks believe that's satanic related. One of the things you have to look at, and Kent Hovind talks about this, is that we live in a world that has become of this world. And when you live in that world, folks, you accept the fact that you yourself are assimilated into that. And what that can do to you as a person is leave you really a victim of circumstance. Kent Hovind is a victim of circumstance. He unfortunately was looking to push an agenda based upon his First Amendment right. Well, it's fine and dandy as long as it doesn't impede on what the powers that be are trying to do. And when you do that, though, it's something that you might end up in a bad situation. You and I have talked about this recently. There's a movie that came out in 2014 called Kill the Messenger. And it talks about the CIA running drugs. And, I was talking about the real Rick Ross, Throwback Thursday. You have this fake rapper who used to be probably a cop himself, calls himself Rick Ross, and now he's got some street cred with no cred. That's one of the things Jay-Z talks about himself, that he was rapping because, rapping and making money, and he's still living off the money he made in the 80s from all the crack he sold. Well, the real Rick Ross was who's now helping rebuild the community, talking to folks about the delinquency that was his youth and what led him to the position in which he was in. And one of the interesting things about the real Rick Ross and about the all the things that happened, we've caught planes that have gone down full of guns, full of drugs, full of money, and this man was at the heart of it all, running. One of the funniest and most disgusting, saddest things about his commentary, he goes, "Man, I couldn't even move it all. I was getting so much stuff, I couldn't even keep up with it and move it." Now, he was providing through his Nicaraguan contacts. And like he says himself, he goes, "Who do I know in Nicaragua?" He talks about how the CIA pretty much set him up, operated him, and let him get to the point where he imploded on himself. And then they just busted him.
That was like that one Denzel Washington movie. Remember that one? What was the name of that?
Man on Fire?
No, not Man on
That's
Fire.
with the kids and the other one.
No, it was the
American
Gangster.
Yeah, no. Oh, you're talking about American Gangster.
American Gangster. That's he was bringing in drugs through.
But that's to the military. That's a different operation.
But still, I mean, come on, the military. How could they not be involved?
Now you're talking about McNamara, and you're talking about Vietnam, and you're talking about the 70s, and we're not going to get into that today. That's
this is Throwing Back Thursday.
Yes, we're going to talk about LBJ next week, and we'll go into all that.
All right,
talk about economic hitmen, folks. If you missed the show yesterday, we had an imaginary conversation in a fictitious world. We had Mr. Lalo Martinez. Some of you folks got a little upset. We were talking about where Putin might have been, what he was about. Guys, that's what an imaginary conversation in a fictitious world is, guys. If you can't have one, folks, yeah, you should start. It's fun to have a speculative idea and a concept and an original thought and something that might, I'm not going to get into it. Throwback Thursday today, though, folks. OpenWordNews.com. Pamphleteer, RGV 2015 Freedom Expo. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
Are you excited?
I'm pumped.
Why are you pumped, Pamphleteer?
I'm pumped because this is going to be one of the events. This is going to be the flagship event for freedom here in the Rio Grande Valley. We're reaching out to everybody that wants to say they stand for freedom. We want to hear it from their mouth.
Oh, that's right. If you want to get involved, you're a clergyman, you're a leader, you're an entrepreneur, you're an artist, you're a free thinker, get a hold of us, folks. Go to openwordnews.com, send us a message, reach out to us, get involved. Folks, you don't want to miss out on this. You're going to kick yourself in the rear saying, man, I should have been there. And we told you first because you deserve to know yesterday before it becomes today. That way, when it's tomorrow, you're there and you're signed up and you're ready to go. OpenWordNews.com. This day across the globe in history, Pamphleteer, one of the other things that was really, really interesting is that 1987, televangelist Jim Bakker resigned from the PTL due to the scandal involving Jessica Hahn. And, you know, it's funny that this is one of those interesting days because the decline of our religious leaders is always something that's been captivated by America. And you look at someone like Kent Hovind who didn't have any dirt or stuff to throw on him, and you see him in prison today, and then you see the long-legged Mac Daddies or the short-legged Mac Daddies. You see your Al Sharpton who's out there spreading the race baiting, and then you have your Jesse Jacksons who might have or might have not been involved in the CIA's operation to eliminate one of the most dangerous targets, which is Martin Luther King. You know, and people look at this.
Martin Luther the King.
You know, this is real. This is real. People wake up. Not because I tell you, but because you probably have kids. If you're listening to this show already, you're looking out into the world. These Throwback Thursdays are for you to get a grasp on everything and anything that has gone on. OpenWordNews.com. We got to go. We'll be back.
We're out of time. We're
out of time, man. We'll be back tomorrow.
That's what happens.
93.9 FM, Monday through Friday, 7:10 p.m. OpenWordNews.com. We got to go into the distance.
That's right. Don't forget, OpenWordNews.com/event. That giveaway we're doing is still there, folks.
Antigua Revilla.
Go
giving
sign
away
up.
that pachanga, that
Go
party.
sign up. Don't forget, and like us on Facebook. Come on.
OpenWordNews.com, folks. We got to go.